this is just going to be a short video, I think. This is addressing topics that I see happening all the time about people wanting to claim their rights, like right of health care is a privilege. If you go down that road, you're saying you believe in communism, you believe in socialism, because it's your right. Nowhere in the Constitution, nor the Bill of Rights, nor any other Federalist letters, even scriptures, doesn't matter which holy book you want to open up, nowhere does it say that the government is a guarantor of health coverage for the individual citizen. The government is contractually obligated to provide insurance for those that are in its service. That is true, but only those in its service, such as veterans. Now, I had a nice little show I was watching last night on mainstream news, and it's coming out that the VA is, again, playing with numbers. Same thing that happened with non-vets as far as PTSD. They're denying it to these guys from the first Iraq War as well as what's going on now. And we can see the suicide rate of troops going up. Well, if they're not getting the medical coverage and yet they've bled, they've died for us, or put it this way, they've died in our name. Because anything the government does, it does in our name. Whether we are for or against their actions, it is still done in our name, as far as everybody else is concerned. Because supposedly in a democracy, you don't allow these things to happen, right? Isn't that why we tout democracy above every other form of government? Well, my government is what we're stuck with right now. And so you need to start thinking about ways to deal with what you're dissatisfied with. And advocating violence against anybody doesn't do anything other than condemn you out of your own mouths before you do anything. Are you even seeking for redress? Are you holding your representatives accountable? No. Why do I say that? Well, since 1933. And people want to say, oh, well, let's go back even further. How about 1913, the Federal Reserve Act? Well, there were two senators, Charles Lindbergh and Louis McFadden, that objected to the bank bill. Lindbergh's baby was killed, shattered his mind. Louis McFadden was a representative from the state of Illinois. You can look him up. He gave some good speeches concerning this topic, as well as filing criminal charges. And on the third assassination attempt, they finally succeeded. Those are the only two people I know that stood up against the Federal Reserve Act, as well as your federal income tax and yada yada, all that other stuff that came into being. So what's my point? My point is this. If you don't get it yet without me having to explain it, this is a sorry state of affairs for all Americans to be in if this is the measure that we measure ourselves by. Number one, if it's an unconstitutional act, it's a duty and a responsibility upon everyone, not just the citizens, but even the elected officials in office to represent us, to have repealed that act. Now, presidents can sign executive orders. Executive orders are nowhere framed within the Constitution. In fact, in Section 1, Article 8, it's about where Congress only has the power to make new laws, to declare war, to mint and coin money, and all the other issues that we're facing today. And people still going on about rights. Okay, well, so you get a right from the government for free coverage for health care. And we're already trillions of dollars in debt. Where is that money going to come from? Who's going to pay for this? It goes far deeper than any of you were even thinking. It's about total reconstruction of our government, our foreign policy, as well as the Fed and everything else that's an issue that's even, to me, they're valid issues. Okay? Now, if our government actually becomes accountable to those it represents, then we're not going to have 200 and some odd bases, military bases around the world, now are we? So how many billions of dollars a year would that save? How many trillions? Why do we pump out millions of aid to other countries that don't need it? Every month. Why? These are topics. If you want your government back, this is the topics you need to be addressing, because your government was stolen because of money. Now, we had national bank charters in the beginning, but they didn't go over so good. And in 1812, I've stated in another video where the presidency, the United States Congress, everybody, no, we do not want to renew your charter for another central bank. And Aaron Rothschild at that point made the statement, you will either give me a central bank or I will put you so deeply into debt you will beg me for a central bank. So that's why we had the War of 1812. So if you look at all of this debt we've incurred unwillingly on behalf of the citizens, and even unwillingly on some members of the government, then that's where I would start. I would also look at putting the original 13th Amendment back into the Constitution. Strike all laws that have been on the books since the Constitution's been prostituted. See, these are all drastic measures that one would have to address and to actually have come about. In order for you to really regain your country, your republic, that's what you're going to have to do. All these thousands of books that are put on, thousands of laws that are put on the books each year. Let's see, what was last year? 14,000 some odd bills? Laws? Who's got a mind big enough to know all those laws? And yet they say it is the responsibility of the citizen to know the laws so as to not break them. People, they're using this to tie you up. So I just want you to be aware of what's going on. Put a little thought before you speak. Don't respond from an emotional point of view. Respond after you've stepped away from it and have a chance to look at the information as just information. It is not a personal attack on you. It's an attack on everybody. Then base your comments upon that state of mind. Not respond quickly and recklessly as I've seen in all these posts of people on the net. See, it's called intelligence. They've already pre-planned and foreseen the Bubba effect. And that has nothing to do with just the South. That's everybody in any state in the Union. Is that the common man will just get fed so much and will not do any more and will respond irrationally. Did you hear that? Respond irrationally. Because that's what's being fostered through all this fear. Don't be afraid. You only have one life. So if they take a big deal, you have another life that's eternal afterwards, if you're a believer in religion. If you're an atheist, well, you have just this life. And what are you going to do to improve this life? Kind of a hard question, isn't it?